Hey, Scott, ROCKFILE back with another podcast review. Let's talk about the 1996 film Escape from L.A. in its 4K edition. I really wasn't going to pick up this movie. I saw it in the theater back in 1996, and I didn't like it at all, actually. I walked out of the theater and went, what did we just watch? And I haven't seen it since. I'm kind of proud of that fact. I thought they really screwed the pooch on it back in the day, and maybe I didn't really know what I was doing. This was written by John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, and Kurt Russell. John Carpenter directed it, coming back from the first movie, based on the characters by John Carpenter and Nick Castle. Deborah Hill produced it like she did all the others. Kurt Russell also produced it. Cast includes Stacy Keach, Steve Buscemi, Peter Fonda, surfing, Cliff Robertson. $50 million budget, only grossed $42 million, and is considered a flop. John Carpenter doesn't care. He says his movies do what they do. He's done with them once he's released them. I would be that way too. When I release these podcasts, I don't usually listen to them again, to be perfectly honest with you. They're kind of performance art. And here I am and in the moment right now, talking about this movie right now, but that'll be gone once I hit stop and save this and upload it to the podcast. Anyway, Escape from L.A. brings back everybody from Escape from New York to make a sequel. Watching it now, it's really not that bad. Like there's a decent story there. It's all part of Escape from New York. It's kind of part two. The idea is that the United States dealt with a pretty cataclysmic event, and L.A. has been walled off by water. So it's now where we send the undesirables of the country. The country has been taken over by basically a dictator who's outlawed drinking and drugs and women and sex and all that kind of stuff. And there might be some parallels with modern life, if you will. And Snake Plissken is brought in because the president's daughter has disappeared. She's got some piece of technology that will help him rule the world. He's got to find her. They've hit him with a virus this time instead of explosive bolts in his neck. The virus is going to kill him in about 10 hours, so he needs to get on the move. They send him by submarine over to the island, and then the island of L.A., and he goes through another series of events, kind of like he did in Escape from New York. The best thing about this movie is Kurt Russell. He's playing Snake Plissken just the way he played it in the original movie. He's a little bit older, hair's a little longer. He's in great shape for the film, and he gets to be Snake Plissken in some crazy stuff. You have some special characters who pop in for these kind of set pieces, and I think what really hurts the movie is the special effects. In 1996, this was the last movie done by Warner Brothers Walt Disney special effects team. They folded into another special effects team and they closed the studio. This was literally the last film done by those people. And by today's standards, it's terrible. Like the effects are really, really bad. Some of the effects blend okay, scene extensions and things like that when you're supposed to in the background and shots from above. That's kind of cool. But some of the integral stuff is layer upon layer of these effects that just, we weren't there yet. And it's obvious. There's a very famous scene where they're surfing and the surf wave has just been released down this culvert and he's keeping up with a car, and you can tell that the car and the road and the side and the actors and the waves are all different special effects all put together. It's pretty obvious on the 4K. That being said, all the other scenes look really good on the 4K, but this is a movie that feels like some of the modern movies that are filmed on sound stages and stuff. Like none of this felt like it was real. In the original Escape from New York, it was filmed in the streets of New York, after hours, at night, things like that, but it has that gritty, realistic feel. As he's walking around this L.A., you can tell it's a soundstage, it's a backlot, it doesn't feel like they're actually in the city. When the earthquake hits, they do the special effects with it, and they tried. You see the Century City building fall apart, and you see different freeways fall apart. It's rudimentary special effects. When they put him in a submarine, a one-man submarine to shoot him over there, it's worse than video game special effects from back in the day. Matter of fact, a lot of those bad special effects in the film look like bad video games from 1996. But watching the movie this time, and I knew the special effects were going to be bad, so let me just watch the movie. I actually was quite entertained with it this time around. I didn't hate the film. And the way it ends with Snake Plissken doing what he does and how he looks at the camera and what he says and all that, I just think, yeah, it's not bad for a sequel. the whole idea to go double down and do all the digital effects they did in 1996 was a bad idea. Had they had filmed practically on the actual streets of LA and not backlots and not sound stages and stuff like that, they filmed at a landfill and created 120 buildings to make it look like a shanty town. That just seems, I don't know, it didn't look real. None of it really looked real, a lot of it. A scene here and there, he's walking through, cars going by, that kind of stuff, that felt like it was outdoors, but a lot of it felt like, especially when they show you a scene and then they back up and you can see the scene is superimposed into another scene, a bigger scene. That kept taking me out of the film because the special effects are that bad. But as a sequel to Escape from New York, it's really not bad. And you get to see Snake Plissken do what he does. I think the story meanders just a little bit. I think they could have tightened it up here and there. But overall, if you can look past the special effects, this is not a bad sequel. Not a horrible sequel anyway. I don't know. The main reason I picked it up, by the way, several years ago, Walmart and Paramount decided to experiment with putting 4Ks in DVD cases, those larger cases, and you would get the 4K, the Blu-ray, and the DVD, which a lot of times you don't get a DVD these days, and they were sold at Walmart for cheaper than you could get it. Well, this didn't catch on because nobody wants those giant cases. Well, now Amazon is selling them off, and Amazon has put a new UPC code on the back, and they were selling this one in a DVD case for $7.99 or the regular 4K case for $14.99. What are you going to do? It's not one of your favorite movies. Are you going to buy it in a crappy case just to get it for that cheap? Because it's the same disc. The other thing about this edition is there are absolutely no extras. There's a trailer on each disc, and that's it. There was no behind the scenes, which I wish there was, but it says on the back, 4K edition of the film, feature film, Blu-ray edition of the film, DVD edition of the film. It doesn't list any extras, and I should have known better, but do we need any extras? A lot of blue screen, green screen stuff and stuff in sound stages. Anyway, I love Kurt Russell. Seeing him and Peter Fonda surfing, man, if they could have pulled that scene off, I mean, like when Peter Fonda pops up in the film, he's one of the best things in it. He's just fabulous in the film. Steve Buscemi is Steve Buscemi in the film. Stacy Keach is really good in the movie. And Cliff Robertson as this dictator kind of president. He's creepy and should be. I actually did have fun with the movie this time, and if you want to spend $7.99, buy it on the DVD case while it's still on sale for Black Friday with Amazon. Or you could spend more money and buy a bigger case, and I'm sure they're going to do a steelbook at some point. But this is not one of my favorite films, but I'm collecting all the John Carpenter movies, and I pretty much have almost all of them. This one I hadn't watched since it came out almost 30 years ago, and watching it now, it wasn't terrible, and pick up the 4K if you're a fan of the film. It was a 5.1 soundtrack, Dolby Vision. Movie looked really great. Sounded good, really good for a lossless 5.1. All in all, I was pleased with my $7.99 purchase, and I was entertained by the film. Your mileage may vary. I'm Scott, I'm ROCKFILE. More podcasts are on the way. Please like, share, and subscribe, and have a spectacular day.